吃、水、电、房子都不要钱，免费住的。哎，屋里设施啥都有。
哦，那工作辛苦吗？
反正工资也不高。
工资也不高。Here we are in Nanjiecun, Nanjie Village, Henan Province, which means central China. But it's my first time traveling this up north in the winter and it's freezing! And right now, I'm standing on the main square of the village, overlooked by a monumental statue of Chairman Mao. And behind him, another massive sign, "The thoughts of Mao eternally shine." And the name of this square is called Dongfanghong Guangchang, a very ideologically loaded term, which translates to "the East is Red Square." The aesthetic is very consistent, almost theme park-like. A lot of red billboards, revolutionary slogans, and as I'm sure you can hear in the background, and I'm sorry if your ears are bleeding like mine is, the loudspeaker wouldn't stop playing either red songs or historic speeches by party officials from decades ago. I just listened to the past one, and apparently it was about the atomic bomb. But let's have a walk around and check out the different red elements here. Look at the streets here. Aren't they so clean and wide? Like the pedestrian sidewalk that I'm walking on can probably fit 2 cars on them. And well maintained. And you could definitely see traces of maintenance. Like this morning, I came across a morning assembly where there must have been 40-something uncles and aunties attending that were in these orange vests. And they were the ones who are responsible for cleaning and maintaining the village. I've also come across a lot of policemen, security guards, but what is a bit confusing for me is I don't think I've actually come across a lot of villagers yet. 是换这个灯笼罩吗？
不要了。
不要了。
啥都不要了。
哦，真的吗？
你要的？
我不要。
我想说你要了都给你，这罩子不换一项，这都通体都换完了。
这些灯笼都是过年才挂上去的，是不是啊？对。哦，好喜庆。
好看不？
好看啊。哇，还挺多灰的呢。
这可以卖钱，买的都是现成的，带罩子带这都有。
像你们都开这个小车呢？
哎，
这个要驾照吗？
这不要，加个罩子这坐溜它不冷呢。
嗯，是的。那像你们也住在里面吗？
我不是的，我离这还4-5里地呢。他这里人幸福啊！
哦，那你们在里面工作的不一定是本地人，
反正是本地人，不是这村里，
所以就没有福利。
对，他也不管饭。
哦，他也不管饭是吗？
对，
就是纯粹的发工资。
对，
那就是本地人，就是因为出生在这儿，所以就一切都管了。
对，不是出生在这里，女孩嫁到这里也可以。
要换户口是吗？
哎，
好嘞，我再去逛逛。
好啊。
And another element that is definitely missing, that's different from any other Chinese city or town or village, is that there are no street vendors here. I was hoping to grab a coffee, and that's when I realized there's not a single coffee shop in this village. But luckily, this village isn't too big, and 5 minutes walk from the main square, I am already at the gate. And I just want to quickly show you, once we're outside this gate, we're back to, let's say, civilization. And you find all kinds of shops and restaurants and street vendors just like everywhere else in China.
不让摆，
不让摆，就只能在城外这个墙外摆
这样，
是吗？哦。
这想关，那边上都关。
It's now lunch hours and I've come to the public canteen. And guess what? There's a sign that says Halal restaurant, no food from outside. Isn't that really interesting? This village supposedly has 800-ish households and more than 4,000 registered residents, which is not a lot really. But if the public canteen is halal, and there's also a mosque, does that mean there is a significant Muslim community living here? I definitely need to look more into that. But here we are in the canteen, and this reminds me so much of my middle school canteen. Let's have a look. Whoa, quite a lot of choices, although all very carb heavy. Here we have noodles, more noodles, porridge. Oh, here's the promise. If there's any issue with your order, we could exchange or return them unconditionally. What does that mean? If you don't like it, you could just get a refund. Maybe I'll get these. 我要一个洛阳牛肉汤，10块钱的。
加个10块的不送饼丝啊。
不送，不送什么？
那个饼，刚才切那个饼。
但是里面有面是吗？
没有面，那就粉丝。
啊？
粉丝跟千张，肉。
粉丝和千张里面有。
哎。
哦，好，可以，没问题。我不要饼。
那个不要饼了。那可以
吃不惯。扫这个。
我给你尝，好吃辣的不好？
不要太多。
不辣的。
谢谢，谢谢你，谢谢你。I think they've put a lot of leek in here. Leek and not spring onions. Can't say it's phenomenal, but very comforting. And for 10 yuan, no complaints. It could use some vinegar, yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys. So this morning, I actually walked past this canteen during roughly breakfast hours, and a lady approached me. I don't know why, but I got a bit nervous. I thought I was in some sort of trouble. And I was filming. But she came to me actually to say, or to ask, if it's okay for me to trim the clip where her face is shown. Because technically, she was supposed to be at work. I guess whether if you work in a capitalist society or in a socialist one, like in the case of this people's commune, this urge to slack off work doesn't really change, does it? Huh? Oh, yeah.
下班了。
好。我以为2点钟关门。
1点半就下班了。
哦，真的，哦，真的，不好意思。
没事。
那你们晚上还开吗？
晚上不开了。
哦，只开早上和中午。哦，那本地人也来吃吗？
谁都可以吃。
本地人来吃吗？还是就是游客？
也在这吃，有的在这，有的不在这。
哦，那他们来也付一样的价钱吗？
一样掏钱。
真的？I don't know if it's because I'm just again struggling to understand the dialect, but I think she just said that the locals pay the same. Maybe this is not subsidized. I'm even more confused. 哦，锁起来了。阿姨，我可以请教你一下，本地人来吃饭，就是南街村的人，
吃饭也得掏钱。
他们有
在俺这有职工食堂，吃了不要钱。
哦，有职工食堂不要钱。哦，那
我们家里分的啥都有，不是哈？福利卡啥都有，你去超市买个领着，家庭住了，气儿、水电、房子都不要钱，免费住的。
哦，
哎，屋里设施啥都有。
哦，那工作辛苦吗？
哎，工资也不高，
工资也不高。
工资就2、3千块钱。
哦，但是待遇好，福利好。
哎呀，待遇好，你啥都不掏钱，你想想学生有病弄啥都是公家的。以前供应你上大学，大学上了，这个人都妥了，都不再管你了，你直接都上班了。
直接就上班，但你不用找工作，是不是？
想回来了回来，不想回来在外边也行。
但是你人在外边还是有福利吗？
那没有面没有，别说福利没有了，房子也有，
房子有，
哎，就是没有福利。在外边的你还能再享受，给你个面还不中，水电也不要钱，俺这啥都不要，洗澡啊、热水、凉水一天到晚都有。
那年轻人出去多还是回来的？
回来多，
回来多。
实力猛的有这哎，
好嘞，
好，
谢谢你啊，辛苦了。
好，慢走啊。
谢谢。So just now we've met a few aunties who are working at the canteen, but the majority of the villagers here are actually employed at the factories around here, which seemed a bit counterintuitive, at least to me in the beginning, because when I think of a people's commune, I immediately have this image of collective farming, agricultural life, which is really not the case here. Even though we call it the last people's commune in China, and it could seem like a frozen relic of our Maoist past, it's really not a direct continuation of any people's commune that existed back in the 1960s, which, by the way, all got dismantled in the early 80s during the whole reform and opening up process. But what happened here was that with the introduction of privatization, productivity actually fell. And that's when the village leadership decided to head towards a re-collectivization with an emphasis on collective ownership, shared property, and guaranteed welfare. But as to why Nanjiecun was able to sustain itself or even thrive to a certain extent, especially in the late 1990s and early 2000s, we're gonna have to head to the supermarket to find out. As we enter the supermarket, nothing really stands out as too out of the ordinary at first glance. Oops, I spoke too soon. I was quickly told by staff that filming is not allowed inside. Overall, there seems to be a faint cloud of secrecy surrounding this village. Even when I asked DeepSeek about its socialist model, the topic was apparently flagged as too sensitive for us to discuss. Well, I'm not sure what kind of corporate espionage I could possibly conduct just by glancing at the shelves. Shelves filled with products from the village's namesake brand, Nanjiecun. A collectively owned conglomerate focused on food processing, snacks, seasonings, beverages, packaging. Perhaps their most recognizable product here is the instant noodle, still priced at 150 yuan in 2026. As you could imagine, that level of affordability made it hugely popular across the country back in the 1990s, as China's cities expanded and people started eating on the move. What emerged was a rural industrial enterprise, one that not only generates considerable employment opportunities, but also steady cash flow that is redistributed to residents through welfare and housing. I'm about to exit the compound, but before I leave, I just want to quickly show you guys the housing situation here, because we're now in the residential area. And on both sides of the street, there are these apartment blocks, which are pretty uniform, standardized, nothing too crazy. And as you've heard from the auntie earlier, housing here is allocated. So that means no mortgage, no rent, but also no ownership and no choice. Because allocation most likely works on, well, first village membership, but also family size. And I wouldn't be surprised if seniority is also a determinant factor, since I've heard they have 2-room and 3-room options. Literally, just as I was about to say that I'm really surprised that no one is hanging their clothes from their window, someone just left their bedsheet to dry here. Although I have to say, anywhere else in China, that would have been the norm, whereas here, it's an anomaly. And there's one last thing that I want to report on. Remember in the morning, I had this burning question. Why is it that I'm only coming across the police, the security, and the cleaning crew? It's been a full day, and I can confidently confirm that there are real human beings living in this village. And it looks like the villagers here are queuing for something. I don't know what it is. It looks like they all have a plastic bag in their hand. Let me see. 不好意思，请问一下，你那个售磨处是只对村民开放吗？
卖馍吧？
嗯，
对，花村民。
就是游客不能来买是吗？
我是买不了。
哦。
这个卡，那你的馍不好吃。人家北京的，都搁北京了，回来都想要烧个这馍。
哦，真的。
来搁这儿打过工的，都会怀念吃这儿的馍，好吃。
大家一般买好多呢。
那就是当主食，你看这都是面，以面为主嘛。
是的。
它是那公里票，论的斤，1斤5个。
1斤5个。
哎，每铺就是2斤。它是中午晚上都有。
So here you go. That's a wrap for today. What do you think of this whole people's commune collectivist lifestyle? Is it depressing or perhaps a bit enviable? Let me know, and I will see you in the next one.